What's up everybody, Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be playing a little Phase in version 43. As always, let's go over the deck. Now I have Quick Exit, Armored, Damage Return, Auto Shield, Experienced, and Mana Fountain for my gems. Now for my cards, I start out with Lamplighter, Chanting Shaman, Coin Master, Exoskeleton, Green Spring, Radiant Healer, Protective Sentry, Gates of Salvation, Pensive Shaman, Vital Waters, and lastly, Vengeful Mare. Now, I am very rusty with Phase. I have not really played her since the first day of version 42. She was my first video, you know, that they're right around that time, right around, you know, version 40 when she was released. She quickly became my favorite hero. I loved playing supports, and I loved having a support hero that I could pull ADCs out of situations when, you know, hey, there's no reason for you to be there. I'll let you play like a fool, but, you know, if you start getting, you know, beat up, I'm going to get you out. And I really like that. You know, so it was almost a selfish way of me liking Phase. Just because, like, hey, you know, ADC shouldn't be there. If I'm playing Muriel or Steel or something, I can run away and leave them. But Phase, I could actually go, no, don't, you're not allowed. You know, so I really fell in love with Phase because of that. But in version 42, she has zero impact. She was just... in my opinion, she was the most underwhelming hero of version 42. And hopefully with this buff that she got, maybe we can actually see some changes and kind of get her back to being a better hero. Now, one thing I always see people do is they don't get Lance at the beginning, or they get Lance at the beginning instead of getting their tether, which... that's great if you're in comms with your ADC. If you're not in comms with your ADC, go ahead and stick with your tether, because this allows you to pull them out of bad situations, you know, avoid early game ganks, as well as you actually get that healing. If you get Lance, all you can do is maybe root somebody. And with the speed of Paragon now, it's a little bit more difficult to root people, and especially if you're going against a hero like Aurora that has just a ton of evade, you're not going to get that root off. You know, if you get that root off, it's because she let you. So there's really no point in starting out with that. It's much better to have your ADC topped off than it would be to maybe potentially get a root or even a blind, which I actually go for my blind first, and that was... or after my Lance. So at level 2 I get my blind, which that was actually an accident. I did not mean to do that. I definitely want to go Lance and then blind, or, you know, even maybe get my tether twice, because blind just doesn't really feel as effective as it used to. Now, our ADC does pick up gold, and if you see here, I think she was clearly waiting for me to pull her, but I'm not going to. It used to be fine. You know, you could do 2 or 3 pulls before you were out of mana, but Phase is an absolute mana hog at the beginning of the game now. So, you definitely don't want to spend mana that you really don't have to, and you're only saving, you know, a couple of seconds there, so... hey, just have them run around. Don't waste your mana pulling them out of that pit until you actually get enough mana to where you can spare to do things like that. Alright, so I'm going to start speeding it up and just kind of getting over the boring stuff. We'll really get into this gameplay, maybe see some changes, maybe actually see if we do have an impact. Unfortunately, I do get that DC in this match, and whenever we come back in, we've like lost 3 towers or something like that, and I'm like, oh, the game's over. But we do end up turning it around, so, you know, we had an amazing game, and, you know, even with that DC, we did make a comeback. Now, this is kind of showing my just rustiness with Phase. You can see I'm pushing entirely way too far forward playing Phase. You know, Phase is a backlane hero, and you need to play her that way. Now, Unfortunately, I was not able to pull that Sparrow out before Aurora got her ult off, so you can definitely see Aurora's ult is a lot quicker. Now, I am not used to Phase not having any heals at all, and you can see I completely drain myself of mana spamming abilities, and I turn around and Sparrow's almost dead, so that's definitely something that I'm going to have to get used to. Now, I go ahead, stick with this tower. You know, Kallari's doing her thing, hitting the tower. We're so early in the match that I'm not too worried about the damage. I just need to take out this minion right here. Now, Phase's blind no longer hits like it used to either, so you really cannot use a whole lot of her abilities to clear waves. You can use them to slow down, but mainly her abilities are used for taking care of heroes or even, you know, disorienting heroes, but mainly for getting those heals on the person that you're linked to. Now, I do end up heading back to base, and I'm able to put on Green Spring, Chanting Shaman, and I grab some Lamplighters, head back to lane, and, you know, hopefully I'm going to try to use these Lamplighters for the lane to keep some vision on that Kallari. You know, I'm not really going to focus on putting them in the jungle, which, you know, in hindsight, of course, I probably should have, but at this point, I just want to keep them in a lane. Now, me and Sparrow are here just kind of getting a little bit of farm. I have just hit level 5, so we should be able to make a play here, and, you know, she is pushing this lane a little bit, so I'm going to help her get these minions down, and maybe we can actually get some damage on this tower. Now, this right here, another thing, you know, as Phase, I should never have gone in on that tower, and unfortunately I do. Now, I use my ultimate to just give Sparrow a little bit of time to get out, and luckily it was just enough. You know, Phase doesn't really have so much of appeal as other supports or, you know, tanky heroes, but you can be a great distraction, which, I mean, I guess you could call that appeal, but typically you sacrifice yourself when you do something like that, especially since they reduced her blind. You know, it really is, you can run in circles for long enough for someone to get out, but you're going to die for it, and that's exactly what happened there. Now, I do head back to my safe lane. I'm able to hook up to that Sparrow, and I go ahead and spam some abilities, get her some health regen back. You know, it does cost a little bit of mana, and that is, you know, basically wasted. Those abilities, you know, they get put on cooldown and they're wasted, but I am healing her up, which is what I want to do. And if you see here, Aurora heads in, she's able to get a little work done. And if you saw, I actually ran towards the core there. That was just to keep them away from Sparrow. Luckily, I was able to, you know, survive that small little encounter. But that is telling me, hey man, you really got to start playing a little safer. You need to stay in the back. You need to quit pushing up so far. Hopefully I can get my head around that. You know, like I said, I'm pretty rusty with Phase, just because she's a support that's played like no other support. You should really be far away. Now, if you see here, I am keeping a little bit of damage on that Aurora. I used my lance just to prevent her from backing. I know we're not going to get that kill, but keeping her out of lane for just a little bit longer, that's going to really allow us to do a lot more damage to this tower than if, you know, we just let her go back. She might be back in lane by the time our minion wave was pushed up enough. Now, we are actually going to force this lane, and we get it in tower. Now, I am playing it a little cautious. I don't want to push up too much because I know that Aurora's somewhere. And during my lance, while, you know, I'm focusing on what I'm doing, she ends up sneaking up behind me, and she's actually able to get her ult off. Now, I'm taking tons and tons of damage. Kallari's on me, their Aurora's on me. I head away from my Sparrow. And the reason I do this is because I was probably going to go down no matter what. And not only that, but this allows my Sparrow to damage them, hit them in the back, and, you know, it just keeps her healthy. And as you can see, once I spawn back in, she's actually able to turn that fight completely around. She ends up downing that tier 1 tower and taking out that Aurora just because I had that little misdirection of a play. You know, that's really what I wanted to do, and we accomplished it, or she accomplished it flawlessly. So, as a support, my job isn't always to keep her alive. My job is to set her up for success. Especially with Phase, you know, there's not a whole lot I can do. I can make her, you know, godlike and shoot crazy fast. I can root people for her to start shooting. I can blind people when, you know, they're attacking her, and I can keep her healthy. But other than that, I don't offer anything. It's all on the ADC, and that's really how you have to play Phase. Now, Sparrow does decide to head back, and I'm super healthy. I've got a ton of mana. I end up securing that gold buff, and I'm going to head to mid lane, see if we can make something happen in this mid lane. You know, I need to go support my other teammates. There's really no reason for me to stay in that safe lane by myself. So from here, I just decide to go head over to that off lane. I'm going to see if I can help people out. Maybe we can get a kill. And luckily, I did head over here. I'm able to pull this Chimera out. Unfortunately, Gideon did ult under tower, and, you know, he ended up going down. But I'm going to keep this Chimera healthy. You know, their Narbash is very low. Maybe we can make a play here. And I'm just spamming abilities, trying to get this Chimera health all the way back up. And with his health regen and my health regen, we get him very, very healthy. Now, their Narbash does make the mistake of challenging us. Chimera just ults him and just absolutely deletes him. And, you know, that's great. We end up heading back to the mid lane to see if we can make a play happen there. You know, we can't really push that tower. Their ADC's there. We'll get a little bit of damage, and we might end up dying for it. So there's really no reason for us to stay in that lane. Now, I was going to head over to Sparrow, but I do notice something was going down in our jungle on that safe lane side. So I kind of turn around, then I see our Greystones over in the tower, and I went to link to them, and boom, that's whenever I get my DC. Now, it took about a minute and a half to actually get back in game after that disconnect. So, in that time, we've actually lost a couple of towers. And, you know, no big deal. We'll be able to turn this around. You know, it's just really unfortunate. I was able to make it just in time to pull that Greystone out just to, you know, have that Murdoch snipe him. But luckily, we are back. Now, Murdoch and their Narbash were completely out of position, and my team did a great job of collapsing on them. We are able to take out that Narbash. I did try to go in on this Wraith, but people must have not saw him, so he's actually able to get out. And I say, hey, you know what, I'm out of mana. There's no sense in chasing that. I kind of head back to this mid lane, help Gideon out. We do lose our safe lane tower, but like I said, you know, that DC, that really cost us, and there's not just an entire lot anybody can do about that. You know, it sucks when you disconnect, but just reconnect as fast as possible, get back in the match, and hopefully you can turn it around. Now, the worst thing about having that mid-game disconnect is you just lose focus. You know, you're kind of syncing up with your team and everything like that. Y'all are really playing well together, and everybody's kind of got their role, and you kind of understand how each individual plays. And when you get that mid-game disconnect, it just all gets thrown out the window. And it is kind of a pain, and it takes a little bit to get used to. And that's why you see me just running around. I go from one side to the other and back, but we end up turning it around. We start making some plays, and luckily me and Sparrow, you know, she did a great job downing this tier 2 tower, and we turn it around and head over to that off lane. Now, from here, of course, that Narbash, you know, he has to realize he made a bad choice. We're able to take him out just crazy fast, and, you know, that's great. We're really starting to get a good, you know, rhythm going. We take out Raptors. Of course, you know, Raptors are a little bit tougher than they used to be. Or in version 42, I think these version 43 3 raptors do seem to hit a little harder, and you don't get farm near as fast. It seems like you don't get gold as fast as you did in version 42, so you definitely want to have your support there. Luckily, me and Sparrow are absolutely able to just melt those raptors. We end up heading over to this mid lane, helping secure that Wraith kill, and, you know, we're just really kind of getting our rhythm back. We're really going to town. We're just cranking out tons and tons of damage, and I do feel that I'm having more of an impact than I used to. I'm currently 0-2 and 4, but I've been successful in making some plays that have really helped our team. You know, and I just didn't feel in version 42 that Phase really had that at all. Now, I do have my ult, and, you know, unfortunately that Kallari snuck up and stole green buff away from that Chimera, but, you know, hey, it's no big deal. It's a Kallari. We're not going to be able to chase her. I wasn't going to waste an ult or anything like that trying to get her, but we are kind of, you know, getting into a good rhythm of things. I end up hooking back up to our Sparrow, and we're just going to continue the farm game. After I head over to Sparrow, I see, hey, something looks like it might go down in the off lane, so I'm kind of heading over there, and then I also see, hey, something's going down in mid lane, so, you know, I'm still doing that kind of run around. You know, support, that's really what a support does. Now I hook up to this Gideon, and I'm just kind of trying to slow those minions down, keep them away from the core, or the tower anyways. Chimera ends up going in. Now I hook up to him, start spamming my abilities. I try to get out of that Narbash ult. I didn't quite make it, but no big deal. You know, we're hopefully, you know, doing something, and like I said, you can see right here, I'm having much more of an impact with Phase than I did in version 41. I still am just absolutely drinking mana at this point because I did go for that Vital Waters as early as I did. So I think in the future I might try building Intellect a little more than going with so much, you know, health or vitality right away. Now, we did end up heading over there. That was a bad call on our part. I was just kind of following our Kallari, or our Chimera, and they got a decent team rotation. They were able to take us out. You know, I am out of mana, so I do head over to this river buff. I'm able to secure this river buff, give me just enough mana to, you know, if I need to make something happen, I can. Sparrow is here in mid lane, so I'm going to link up with her as soon as I get enough mana to do it, and hopefully we'll be able to make a play happen. Now, I am very low on mana, so I'm just going to stick with this Sparrow. I'll back when she backs, or I'll back whenever I am forced to use all my mana. And, you know, I thought she was going to back here, but that Kallari ends up coming in on us, and, you know, hey, no problem. We end up just kind of rotating around looking for river buffs, and then we march down that mid lane. Now, we do try to make a play here, or happen here in mid, and I go ahead and ult right away, because I need to get some form of mana back to actually make something happen. And by ulting, you know, we can start out really strong. And as you saw, we were able to take that Narbash out very, very quickly. Aurora did get her ult off on us, but, you know, no problem. Sparrow ends up doing a great job in taking her out as well. Now, Kallari is, you know, kind of out of position, and we're able to absolutely erase him as well, or her as well. And from here, we're able to push this tier 2 down. Now, I really kind of wanted to get out, and I need to go back for mana. I'm completely out of mana. I'm going to be absolutely useless, and our safe lane is being pushed, but, you know, our full team stays in, so I'm going to just kind of stick in with, you know, help out as much as I can. You know, you see here, I'm just so out of mana, I'm unable to make that pull or anything like that. But no big deal. With a big team presence the way we are, we're able to take out that inhib. And, you know, we do end up losing that tier 2 for it. But, you know, a tier 2 for an inhib, I'd say that's worth it any day. Especially since it's a mid lane inhib. Now, I'm lazy back right in the middle of their tier 2. I mean, that's almost disrespectful. But I head back. I'm able to put that Gates of Salvation on. I head over to our safe lane, and we're just kind of you know, play the farm game, push the lane back, and try to make another play happen. From here, we're just kind of setting this lane, get it pushing. You know, you can still set lanes, they're still very fast, but in version 43, the minion waves have changed, and you see they're much smaller than they used to be. So, you know, that's one. Now, once me and Gideon kind of get that lane pushed and, you know, it's kind of getting in that unsafe range, I head over to mid, and Chimera's taking Raptors, so we end up helping him secure them, and then we actually all head over and we make our prime play. Now, if you watched the video I posted yesterday about what has changed in, you know, Monolith Rising or version 43, I went in on Prime, I think I was around level 10 or 12, and with a Wukong, which, you know, typically I wouldn't have been able to solo Prime anyways. But once he did that little missile attack, I insta-died. So I haven't really got a chance to test it out. This was the first real Prime play we've made. And as you can see, a full team, we don't even really take a whole lot of damage. We're absolutely able to destroy Prime. And, you know, we make a very solid Prime play. That Narbash and Aurora were trying to come and contest it, but with all of us here, we were, you know, we made very, very short work of them. Now, Greystone ends up taking out Wraith, and that's kind of, you know, that's kind of the end of the match right there. We take out this Narbash and really push the core. Now, I gotta say, I really felt like I had an impact as FaZe this match. Since version 42, FaZe just felt so bad to me. And I don't know if she's back. I don't know if I could say, oh yeah, FaZe is here. She's the support again. But she feels better. And I definitely want to continue playing her. Well, that's going to wrap it up, guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed that FaZe gameplay. Let me know if y'all want to see any other specific heroes, and I'll be sure to make those videos. Well, thanks for watching, and if you did enjoy, show me some love. Leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.